a spell, in tough buildings, in a vast plain. Vittorio Bodini's words, a poet, design in single line the mood, architecture, and landscape of a land like no other. Salento. On a progressive and virtuous path, lasting about 15 years, Salento's people, places, and traditions have turned it into a brand, appealing to tourists and investors from all over the world, and giving an iconic brand to its food and crafts products. Toward fuller growth, there is still so much to discover and promote in Salento. Its territory that extends from Lecce to the north, from Taranto to Brindisi, between the Ionian and the Adriatic coasts, has become part of the cultural identity and economy. Middle-earth by nature, historically this land was firstly populated by the flourishing Messapian society, which inhabited the Salento region since the 8th century BC, leaving grandiose and indelible traces that still mark its cultural identity today. It was more recently enriched by the subsequent Roman conquest and the underground mysticism in the early Middle Ages of the Byzantine monks, who turned the ancient chamber tombs of the Messapians into places of worship, under whose tough vault they could praise the glory of God and saints. Also through their iconographic reproductions, for which they had been persecuted by the Byzantine Emperor Leon III Isuarico. Walking along the cobblestones of the village's historic centers, you feel you could breathe in the passage of time, people, and architecture. Deeply solemn, both with respect to Romanesque austerity and to Gothic impetus, the churches yearn for classical perfection through their superb Renaissance facades, enriched with sculptural bas-reliefs and impressive rose windows, and scaling up to the dizzying triumph of the Baroque with friezes, scrolls, cherubs, and a stone soul. Salento is a region in which the cultural factor has never been represented by an aesthetic aspect of form and beauty. Traditional peasant work and craftsmanship, supported by creativity, have constantly nourished a strong community culture, capable of crystallizing and transmitting itself through relationships between people, as evidenced by the many museums in the area that tell about the territory's social and economic history from its territorial roots. Throughout Salento, everything has been created through hard work. It was a survival economy, unaware of its wealth potentialities. It happened, for example, that the ancient Hypogean mills, the Trapeti, today conserved in museums, hosted the immense activities of oil transformation. They produced oil for lamps from all over Europe, failing to recognize the value of what would have become today's extra virgin olive oil for the table. Even today, most of the excellence of these places is due to the fruits of the earth. Vast stretches of vineyards and olive groves, extending up to the end of eyesight, draw a sweet and generous landscape, which promises products of the finest quality. From the Negra Amaro and Primitivo vines, derive the Pidio Salis Salento and Primitivo di Manduria wines, whose sweet natural variety has been awarded the superior DOCG designation. And from the Ogliorola, Salino, Lecchino, and Frantoio varieties originates a high-quality oil with an unmistakable Mediterranean scent. The zero-kilometer horticultural crops are another example of agro-food excellence, both in the open field and in the greenhouse, many of which are organic and hydroponic, or irrigated with a nutrient solution of water and mineral compounds. All this is evidence of a very dynamic local agriculture, capable of doing business through the skillful combination of tradition and innovation, and of intercepting rapidly developing market segments such as the so-called functional foods. Based on this principle, forward-looking companies have converted key spaces for growing pomegranates in the field and blueberries in diversified environments. Their antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, in fact, are highly sought after by the food, pharmaceutical, and nutrigenetics industries. Some people have successfully managed to start a new economy, completely unrelated to the territorial vocation, being the true initiators of an activity that today has several players in the area. The artisanal production of quality beer on a very limited scale. Tradition, on the other hand, remains the predominant factor in the dairy production of the area, mostly characterized by short supply chain, from animal husbandry to finished products. The specificity of the manufacturing processes proves to be an essential aspect for the preservation of unique and timeless flavors. Unique and timeless flavors characterize the gastronomy of the area, conquering the most demanding palates and the flattering evaluations of the most prestigious sector guides. In the kitchens of the most refined restaurants, creative and innovative chefs reinterpret local recipes and raw materials, setting up sophisticated gourmet menus. On the tables of their dining rooms, even a pizza can become an inebriating experience. The territorial offering with the highest impact on the local economic development, here and in all Salento, is undoubtedly tourism. The beauty of the landscape, both inland and coastal, represents its greatest attraction, around which services and new differentiated proposals are structured, pending the organization of a more functional and integrated territorial system. For this purpose, in the heart of North Salento, in the municipality of San Pancrazio Salento, Enerwind, in partnership with MSC Innovative Solutions, has placed an ambitious development project. Founded on the construction of a multifunctional infrastructural settlement totally compatible with the urban layout of the place and directly powered by renewable energy sources. The project, called LifeCity Parco degli Ulivi, will be financed exclusively by private funds in all of its phases, from construction to management of the offered services. Commerce, leisure, enhancement of typical products, food and wine circuits, personal well-being, social and health services, hotel accommodations, and much more. LifeCity Parco degli Ulivi will be a point of reference for the entire area, a pole of attraction and exchange within the identity economy as defined by the Nobel Prize George Akerlof. LifeCity is an urban format that can be applied anywhere. The idea of a city oriented to the contemporary man, enhancing local resources in different places throughout the world. LifeCity World is the single brand that collects and leads multiple international partnerships to make this happen. In Italy, all this becomes LifeCity Parco degli Ulivi, adopting as its symbolic reference and trademark the most important tree of the Mediterranean. The first Italian project will be the San Pancrazio Salento. Spread over 50 hectares and immersed in an enchanting landscape, the neighborhood will rise to the National Highway 7 Taranto Lecce and will be a real multifunctional citadel serving the territory. The area will be devoted to the food and psychophysical well-being of the individual, built on ethical assumptions of production and management, and in the full implementation of the values of sustainability. Commerce and leisure, hotel accommodation, enhancement of typical products, and local food and wine excellence, health and wellness, social and health services, all in one large project with green areas and spaces equipped for parking, relaxation, and sports. Introduced by a surveillance, refueling, and energy systems area, the Citadel will open its huge green spaces and its large park to visitors. With a children's playground, basketball and tennis courts, and areas for paintball practice. In this reassuring context, the first large building complex in the area will be built for social health and administrative services, a first aid clinic with an adjoining heliport and analysis center for food safety, a social assistance residence for neurodegenerative diseases, including spaces for rehabilitation, and a wing for nursery and school will be housed in its entirety. In the compound, there will also be a museum of provincial relevance and an office for the promotion of local tourism. Other administrative offices and a police station will complete the complex. The second large hub of LifeCity Parco degli Ulivi in San Pancrazio Salento will be represented by a modern 4-star hotel. Inside, there will also be a restaurant, a conference room, spaces reserved for business and meetings, a wellness center with an indoor swimming pool, and a furnished terrace with an outdoor swimming pool. To this, a travel and real estate agency, banking, insurance, and postal services will be added. In surrounding areas, there will be jogging and picnic areas and car sharing for electric mobility. In the heart of LifeCity will be the large shopping, exhibition, and leisure center, where the underlying philosophy of the entire project will be best experienced: total well-being, starting from a high territorial vocation food quality. The center will promote and enhance wines, dairy products, baked goods, pastry, and ice cream art, agro-food raw materials, and zero-kilometer transformations, as well as excellent food and wine. Organic, vegetarian, and vegan food will also be considered, favoring the Mediterranean diet above all, which took its first steps in the 1700s from nearby Oria with the famous cook Vincenzo Corrado. To guarantee these high standards, the Terra dei Principi Imperiali quality label, promoted by the homonymous consortium, was created with the aim of defending and enhancing the peculiar products of the territory. Also internationally, ensuring the consumer quality and excellence in compliance with specific protocols deposited with the Ministry of Economic Development. Inside the exhibition center, there will be tasting rooms, trattorias, rotisseries, and grand gourmet restaurants. Alongside those assigned to the agri-food sector, there will be additional commercial spaces for weddings, sports, and wellness. Leisure time will also find a large space with bowling, a multiplex cinema, a concert and live music area, a spa, and a gym. LifeCity Parco degli Ulivi will represent the way to put Salento's territory back at the focus of the area's future.